James Lindsay used to tweet a lot about these people who were claiming it was racist to say to keep time.
Yes.
It was sort of patronizing.
That's part of the ideology.
Yeah,
yes, Smithsonian had that.
Timekeeping, wearing a watch.
Correct.
2 + 2 = 4 is
That's
racist.
also correct. And
homework.
Jim has argued with people on Twitter extensively about 2 + 2. They're arguing that it can on occasion not equal 5. I mean, these people are not in their right minds.
Yeah, yeah. Again, they've read Orwell. They've read it. They've understood it.
Especially
they've
2 + 2 is 4 is in Orwell. Yeah. So the question is, how do you deal with this problem? I mean, this is the most vicious kind of ideological capture. I mean, this is really like the only analogy I can think of is like a madrasa. It's like a madrasa, but it's like a madrasa in which all of the madrasas in the United States are responsible. They're the engines of knowledge productions by which we maintain economic competitiveness. So what do? Well, there are only 2 options for what you do. You try to reform the system, or you burn it down. There's no other option. Options, you build new things, or you burn it down. There's really no other option. Like, if you can fix the institution, you fix the institution. If you can't fix the institution, then you have to build new things. I'm working on building new things at the University of Austin. I don't think that the institutions can be fixed. And I don't think they can be fixed because you have people who have jobs for life, they have tenure. Anybody who tells you that the institution can be fixed, you only need to ask them one question. Is there a DEI office at the institution? If the answer is yes, then that's fundamentally incompatible with freedom of speech. You cannot have both DEI and freedom of speech. It's literally impossible.
Man. Also, all sort of fallen apart at a time where some people are making the argument that it's not actually worth, particularly for undergrads or just a degree, having a degree.
I agree with them.
It's more sensible to be able to just do a job, a task or something.
Okay, so I think that the landscape is going to change with AI very soon, but right now it has not. So if someone's watching this, my advice to them, particularly if you're a parent or a young person, anyone who's thinking about college, I'll give you the same advice I gave to my daughter, who I love very, very much. Go to trade school. Get a vocation. Become an electrician, carpenter, plumber, mechanic. Those are honorable, noble skills, and they pay lots of money.
Do you see that South Park episode about that?
No.
It's
I watched South Park, so I probably don't remember.
It's one of the new ones that they put out on Paramount, and they're like they're like an hour long. These like long episodes, and basically the joke was that nobody knew how to. They all go around going, "I've got a degree," but then they can't fix basic thing. And then the plumbers and all the people with the trades were going around in like Lamborghinis with gold teeth and stuff like that.
So we've demeaned that, and we've cast a negative shadow on that, which is extremely unfortunate. I just read the other day that the mean IQ of college students went from 109 to 102.
Right.
But not all people should be in college. But even if you want to make the argument that it's necessary for some kind of civic participation or the functioning of civil society or democratic institutions, I'm open to that. But it's not clear to me why that can't be done in K through 12.
What's that?
Well, teach people about civics, teach people about American history, teach people about what it means to be a responsible citizen.
Was K through 12?
Kindergarten through 12th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old's 12th grade?
That's when you're like 18, and then you go to college. Well, you can go to college after that. Okay. See, even I get trapped in that because I'm in that age where that was just a natural progression.
You go to college.
Yeah, and I think that we need to disrupt that, and I think that it's a good thing if enrollments plummet. Until these universities and institutions get their shit together, people should not go there. They're teaching them things that are simply false.
Yeah, and even if they do sort that out, or as you say, they won't sort that out, that it is up for debate. We don't know whether university degrees really are. I don't know. If everyone goes, then you need something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're an employer, one of the things you can do is you can say, well, we're going to look for people with degrees from, for example, the University of Austin, and people have done that. They've said to the University of Austin, we're going to hire your graduates. That's one approach. And the other approach is more negative. I don't like it as much, but it's on the table. If you go to Harvard or Yale or places that have been ideologically captured, don't apply here.
There's a lot of talk from progressive factions about unconscious bias, things like that.
Yeah.
I think there is unconscious. I mean, I think you can't deny it. Of course, there's unconscious bias about everything: race, color, everything, beauty. Do you think
that's conscious bias? But go ahead.
Is that conscious bias? What,
Someone
beauty?
you're attracted to, yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't realize you're attracted to them. I would say even if a straight male, I might favor another male for a job who is better looking.
Oh, so and then you're not aware of that process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that must go on. There was a great book, a short story by Ted Chiang, where who wrote the book that was for Arrival, the movie, and they are able in the future to turn off the bit in your brain that perceives attraction. And it's fascinating to think about. What a thought experiment. So they do it in certain schools.
What's the name of it again?
Ted Chiang, Chiang.
That sounds fantastic.
Stories of your life, and it's all short stories. It's quite Borgesian to bring out Borgesian to show off my Spanish, but really, really good and really interesting. And then when they're 18, they're able to choose whether they want to turn it on, and they first realize whether they're attractive themselves and who they're attracted to, and all these kinds of things.
Very cool.
Fascinating idea. Do you think, though, that people have shown, this is something I've been wondering about throughout history, that if they can be racist and get away with it in a particular society, they will?
Two things. It's highly dubious that the quote-unquote instruments to test intrinsic bias actually test what they're claiming to test for. And if somebody independent can look at that and see if it does what they claim to do. The solution to a race-based way of thinking about the world, the more meritocratic a system is, the less racism it will have built into it. So you can think about it like this. I hate to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it. I get like 50,000 people. Why did you let Boghossian talk about this? But it really is a great example. Combat sports are a fantastic example. So I was going to use example of jiu-jitsu, but you could just use an example of anything. But in jiu-jitsu, it's purely meritocratic. There's no possible way your race could have anything to do with whether or not you can, tap someone out, you can beat them. And the more meritocratic the system, the less racism has to exist in the system, because it's not predicated on make-believe. It's predicated on something that's real. It's an actual skill set. You can't fake it. You can't fake playing a violin. You can't fake speaking you speak Spanish. We can't fake. You could hear a non-Spanish speaker, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So the less one adheres to that and the more one strays to that, the more possibility that the system is likely to contain discrete elements of slack. And those slacks, those pockets it's in those voids where things like racism takes place, sexism takes place, misogyny takes place. You wouldn't need any of that if it was a purely meritocratic system. I mean, how could I would argue that unless it was so deeply ingrained in your culture, you couldn't have it at all. But if you had I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but if you had a truly laissez-faire capitalist system in which the dollar was king, I don't think you could have it either. I read this story a while ago about in Pakistan, these women got together who had been abused by their husbands, and they formed this kind of rug cooperative. And they got a lot of money, and it became famous, and the government eventually came down. They were pissed off, and they shut it down. In that system, in the capitalist system, I would argue there'd be less of that the more laissez-faire or pure capitalism. Anytime you have meritocracy, you have less of the ugly elements.
It's like, I suppose, a soccer team or football, as we call it here. You'd have to be crazy as a manager a coach who wants to win, to pick a white player over a black player who you know is better.
That's the Mark Cuban thing when he started talking about I almost jumped in on the conversation, but he's clearly talking about something he just doesn't know anything about. He's virtue signaling. And then there was a woman who's short in age, and she said, if you really want diversity, I mean, I've been saying this for years, but put me on the team. And so I used to believe, I no longer believe this, I used to believe that the only reason that you'd want a diversity initiative is because people would think it wasn't important, like philosophy professors. We need to have so many trans people. Right. But I no longer believe that, because now it's in the realm of airline pilots, it's in the realm of surgeons, it's in medicine, et cetera. And so the ideological takeover has become complete. Now, I will say that it's it's been so effective for two reasons. One, hijacking the normal meanings of words, playing on people's moral sensibilities. Diversity is good. You're playing on people's feelings. The other way that it's been incredibly successful is the long march through the institutions, right? And it's in our institutions in such a way that they have shut off dialogue and discourse in the name of inclusion. So we want to make people feel welcome. They can't feel welcome if they're offended. So you have to restrict speech. When you have a system in place that tells you that there are certain things you cannot talk about, the natural consequence of that is you will not be able to formulate arguments against the thing you think you believe. And you will only pretend to believe it at some point.